What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another review. This time we're taking a look at The Addams Family from 1991, directed by Barry Sonnenfeld, starring Christopher Lloyd and Raul Julia. I'm just gonna get it all out of the way. I love The Addams Family movie. I think this movie is downright awesome. I remember watching this movie so much when I was a kid. I loved it then, and I still love it now. I am a fan of that dark, just dark black humor, and this movie has that in spades. I thought Barry Sonnenfeld did a fantastic job at bringing in that macabre humor. Not only that, he had a cast of actors that just fit these roles perfectly. Raul Julia as Gomez Adams is just what you want him to be. This Spanish Lothario. He is fantastic in the role. He is like liquid smooth as Gomez Adams, to the point where you actually feel that this is how Raul Julia is as in person. Just this suave, sophisticated type of guy. And the chemistry he has with Angelica Houston, who plays Morticia Adams, phenomenal. Julia and Houston work so well off of one another. Speaking of chemistry with between actors, Raul Julia and Christopher Lloyd, they're fantastic as Gomez and Fester. I thought Christopher Lloyd as Uncle Fester is fantastic. I like the story that this movie has as well. So the whole basic premise of this movie is Fester and Gomez had a fight that happened 25 years prior to the beginning of the events of the movie, where they had a falling out and Fester kind of disappeared. But then Fester is found by this doctor called Dr. Pinderschloss. Now, of course, Dr. Pinderslosh is just this woman named Mrs. Craven, and Fester, and she's pretty much brainwashed Fester to become her son named Gordon. And they come into cahoots with this man named Tully, who is the Addams Family accountant. And Tully is played brilliantly by Dan Hedaya. I think Dan Hedaya as Tully is fantastic. I love the scenes with him and Gomez. They have like a little bit of a rivalry going on. And you can tell that Tully is always constantly annoyed by the antics of Gomez Adams. But it's great stuff. And Dan Hedaya just has like this dry, witty humor to him as well. It's fantastic. I love it so much. But like I said, yeah, the story of this movie is actually pretty good because you have Fester, who is being brainwashed to be the character of Gordon, yet but he really is Fester, and he's pretty much under the control of this woman named Mrs. Craven, who just wants to get the Addams family gold because they crave money. Like, their motivations are kind of flimsy at best. Well, her motivations are flimsy at best. If you will, my opinion, you could have taken the character of Mrs. Craven out of the movie, and I think the movie would have flowed much, 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 much better. But if that would have happened, then we would have gotten a lot of the good scenes that happened in this movie as well. But maybe you could have if you would have just stuck with Tully as the film's villain, so to speak. And maybe you would have gotten some of the scenes in this movie. Like, this movie is chock full of fantastic scenes. You have the scene of the mamushka between Gomez and Fester, which is a great scene. You have the scene with Pugsley and Wednesday at the school play, which is fantastic stuff as well, doing Shakespeare, and they have like this bloody fight scene, which is fantastic. Speaking of which, I love the stuff with the kids and Fester. I think it's touching in a very, very macabre way, and it's great stuff. I also like Gomez, who, when he first meets Fester, at first he's happy to see Fester, but as it goes on, he starts to become really, really wary of Fester, especially when Fester can't remember certain key things that they used to do as children. And this leads to a great scene where Gomez is playing with his trains and he's acting like a madman as like a way to relieve stress. It's a funny as hell scene. I love it so much. I also love the scene post the mamushka scene where it's revealed that Fester is the oldest living Adams, and this judge who we see peppered throughout this movie it was the Adams family next door neighbor who also can't stand the Adamses and he hates Gomez. Pretty much, he pretty much accepts a restraining order between Fester, though it's done by Tully against the Addams family, where the Addams family are forced to live in a hotel. And I just love seeing Gomez just being beaten down and broken down, just acting like a regular loafer, sitting on his couch watching these talk shows. And he has one of my favorite lines where Morticia says, "Why don't we all go for a drive?" And Gomez is like, "And you've gone a drive?" And Ms. Gilligan, I love that stuff. It's so good. This movie has got so many comedic gems in it. And like I said before, Barry Sonnenfeld did a fantastic job directing this thing. To me, every single actor in this movie is just having a good time, just being so over the top with their performances, and it fits great. Barry Sonnenfeld, they all fit the macabre, spooky aesthetic that this movie has. Speaking of which, a lot of the side characters in this movie are all well done. Grandma, she's great. Lurch is great. The Addams family house looks creepy and spooky, almost similar to the Psycho house. Uh, this movie has Cousin It in a nice little role, and I like this little subplot with Margaret, the wife of Telly, kind of falling in love with Cousin It. I think it's pretty cool because throughout the movie, Margaret is kind of like spooked out by the Addams family, and it's and it's actually pretty cool that she starts to slowly get acceptance into said family, which is I thought the movie was really subtly played it out, which I thought was really good, and I enjoyed it. And I like that little subplot, her little subplot as well, where she comes to be more understanding of the family just by falling in love with Cousin It. I thought that was good stuff. Yeah, I like. Like I said, this movie has very few things that I don't like. The only real thing that I don't care about is the Mrs. Craven character, mostly because her motivations is just really flimsy. And like I said, you could have easily had Tully just do what she did, and I think the movie would have had a much better flow. You would have had you would have had less of a useless character. But she does have her moments here and there, I guess. But yeah. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the Addams Family movie. As you can tell, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, and despite a couple of flaws here and there, I'm gonna give it a solid 8 out of 10. I love this movie. It's still great. So, those are my thoughts on the Addams Family movie. Let me know yours in the comment sections down below. Like the video and subscribe, and I'll check you back next time for more.